Hello friends, today we're talking about Clutter Stop. Hi, I'm FlyLady Kat and I'm here today to help you have peace in your life, control in your home, and to learn how to finally love yourself. That's what happens when you use the FlyLady system. I teach it in a very succinct and easy way, and I help people get their lives back. So come on, join us, subscribe, click the notification bell. I make 3 new videos for you every week. You get a live from me every Monday morning, and on Friday you get a gift of a patron video. You get to see what those are like. So join us, subscribe, and give us a thumbs up, comment below. Love to have you, proud to have you here with us. Okay, today we're talking about Clutter Stop. Clutter Stop is the most unused weapon in your arsenal, and it will do the most good for you in your home. A clutter stop is when you have things laying around and you go pick them up and put them in their home. So the theory is everything you own has a place in your home, and so you don't want to pass it up. You want to pick it up and put it where it goes. This is going to save you hours and hours and hours and days and months and years of frustration. Because if you don't pick up your clutter on a daily basis, and I suggest you do it 3 times a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, or if you work outside the home, breakfast when you get home and before bed. Just look around at all the flat surfaces in your home, the tables, the countertops, the floors, the shelves, the seat cushions on your couch and your chairs, your bed, your dresser. These are flat surfaces. The counters in the bathroom. This is where things collect. If you look around, you'll say, wow, yeah, there's a lot of stuff here, but I use all this stuff and I don't want to put it away because A, I don't want to forget about it, or B, I don't have any place to keep it. So forget the forget about it stuff. That's what you need to forget about, because when you put things in your planner, you won't forget. When you use your planner and you say, this is what I'm going to do today, including, let's say you wanted to work on a knitting piece. Maybe you're knitting something. You would put that in the evening when you planned on doing it, knit. Then you go to your little knitting basket and you pull it out and you knit. When you're done, you put it back and put it away. That's what makes your house look streamlined and makes it easier to live in. That's just one example. Now, if you're doing a puzzle, a jigsaw puzzle, and you want to leave it on a card table in the corner of the family room, and that's what you like to do, that's different. But if you are just leaving things laying around because you're afraid you're going to forget about it, that's not a good reason. Because when you do leave things around, you still forget about them because you don't see them, and what happens is they pile on top of each other and they get cemented together and they turn into this really indestructible clutter pile. It's not indestructible, but it feels that way mentally, and the pressure and the weight it puts on you is unacceptable. So start today by doing clutter checks, clutter stops really. I used to call it Clutter Check. I've changed it to Clutter Stop because it stops the clutter. It stops it. I was talking to a client today, one of my mentees, and she said, Kat, we are having boot camp in our Patreon area, and she said, and I asked her about her clutter stops, and she said, Kat, I'm not really doing clutter stops. And I said, well, you need to be doing that 3 times a day. She said, but there's no clutter. I keep looking around, and we put our things away now. Now, she's been with me for a while, but she said, we don't leave things laying out. We put things away. Now, granted, her daughter is an adult now, just home from college, and it's just she and her husband, so they don't have a bunch of little kids. That's a constant struggle. You'll need to be doing clutter stops until the time they leave. But by putting things away instead of passing them up, putting things away, you're going to start a new habit, and your areas are going to look open and wonderful. I wish you could have been on my call today when she said, you know, my dining table was always the biggest place where everything cluttered. And I went to look at my dining table today, and it's always open and clean. It never has clutter on it anymore because she has a place for everything. And so when we're doing zone work, that's what you're going to be doing, finding places and getting rid of some things that are taking up valuable real estate in your home so that you can put the things you really use in a place. Let me show you this. This is my AirPod case. Now, I'm a sidetracked person, so I'm very likely to lose this expensive thing. And these AirPods, I'm likely to lose them. So what I've done is I've made a home for these. When I'm sitting on the couch, they go right back here. There's a space back there. When I'm sitting outside, they go on the side table. When I take my purse and go off, these go in the zipper pocket on the inside. When I go to bed at night, they lay on my side table. They're always there. When I take my AirPods out, they go directly into this case. I don't just lay them around because I will lose them. And all the find my earpods noises in the world won't help me. I need to have them put where they belong. So this was an investment for me. It might not be for you, but it was for me. So I had to make sure that I knew where they were. The same with my glasses. These are my video glasses. I have another pair right here. These are my regular everyday glasses. They go right there when they're not on my face. And these that I'm wearing go in this container on this table right here. So I know they're always there. And so you just have to have a place for everything. It takes time, but start somewhere. Let me put this where it goes. 1 minute. Okay, so I won't know where it is if I don't put it up. And I'm likely to just put it somewhere because, you know, we don't know what's in our hands and we just sort of let go and go on. So I have to be very aware of when things are happening. The same with your shoes, the same with your hairbrush, the same with your makeup brushes, the same with your dishcloth. It could be anything. Haven't you found weird things in your refrigerator or in odd places? That's because we are sidetracked, and most of you probably have some form of ADD, even not diagnosed, where you don't realize you're doing these things, but it causes so much clutter. And if you have children, they're likely to have inherited your sidetracked-ism. Sometimes you'll have a born organized child and they'll stick out like a sore thumb, and count that a blessing because they're pretty organized. They may not always be organized, but they're pretty organized, and you'll see it pretty soon. You may have a born organized husband and he doesn't understand how you can be so crazy because he's born organized. I have a born organized adult daughter. When I told her that we have to write down everything and put it in a planner, she said, "Why would you waste all that time writing it down when you could just do it?" When you ever hear anyone say just do it, they're a born organized person. Because we can't just do it. If you're like me, you need to have it written down so you can follow it. Because what happens is it just gets in there and swirls around and we squirrel and we forget, and the next thing you know, we're just constantly frustrated because things aren't getting done, even though we had the very best intentions. So back to what I was talking about. Pick up your clutter 3 times a day. And when you pick it up, say, where should this go? Oh, this should go in the sink. So a dirty spoon doesn't go on the table, it goes in the sink. Where should this tea bag that I used go? In the garbage can, not on the counter, in the garbage can. Where should my shoes go? Well, either on my feet or by the front door, if that's where you keep them, or in my bedroom closet, or wherever you decide it's going to go. Where should the dog's leash go? Oh, it really should go on a hook by the door. Let me put that in my planner. Buy hook for dog leash. In the meantime, I'm going to put it on the entrance hall table instead of the dining room table. So you're going to slowly but surely start making plans. The same for your children's things. Honey, this isn't where your dolly lives. She doesn't live on the couch overnight. She can go to bed with you, or she can go in her doll cradle. This isn't where your Legos go. Your Legos go in the basket. So let's all pick them up and put them in the basket. Okay? So, and I'll give you a hint on Legos. My sister Patty used this with her son George when he was little. She would open a sheet and put all the Legos on a sheet, just an old sheet, and he could play all day long on that sheet. He could bring it to any room. As long as he kept his Legos on that sheet, he could play with them. When he was through, he gathered up the corners of the sheet and picked up the Legos and put them in a laundry basket and put the top of the sheets, the part that he was carrying it by, on top, and that went in his bedroom. Isn't that a great idea? I've shared that with so many people and they love that idea. So that Legos aren't being stepped on, aren't getting lost. He gets to play with it anytime he wants. You'll allow him to play in places that you normally wouldn't because you can't stand the Legos everywhere. As long as he takes the sheet, gathers it up, and puts it back in the basket when he's done, he'd keep doing that. Will he do that on his own? Absolutely not. Will you have to tell him? Yes, you will, but he can do it. A 4-year-old can do it. Okay? They may need some direction in the beginning, but anyone who plays with Legos is big enough to keep it in a sheet, like a sack. You know, you gather it up like it looks like a sack, and everything's down here, and this part's loose, and you stick it in the basket, put it on top. So I thought I'd share that with you. All right, thanks, Patty, for that tip. Anyway, so let's pick it up, not pass it up. Let's do our clutter stops. Now that I'm doing a boot camp in Patreon, I have so many patrons who have commented to me how difficult boot camp is, and they were supposed to have been doing for months. These are my mentees that I personally mentor. They're the ones telling me this. And for months, they were supposed to be doing the exact things that we're doing, but they weren't. They were fooling themselves. And the biggest thing is they weren't doing their clutter checks, and they don't want to have KP, and they don't want to get kicked out of boot camp. So they're doing their clutter stops, and guess what? It's making a difference in their house. It's making a difference. Now, if you have clutter everywhere in your house, you're not going to be decluttering all that stuff. That happens in your zone. But you're going to be decluttering the things that have been put out since the last time you looked. If this is the first time you look, then declutter what you can. Get a basket, put everything in it that doesn't belong in this room that's reasonable, and then go in other rooms and do the same, and take anything out that doesn't belong in that basket, that belongs in the room that you just went in, and put anything in the basket that doesn't belong in the room you're in. So let's say if you were in the living room, you took the basket, you put some things in the basket. You walked to the kitchen, you took some things out of the basket and put them where they belong in the kitchen, in the dishwasher, in the sink, in the cabinet, wherever. Then if there's anything in the kitchen that doesn't belong in the kitchen, it goes in the basket. Then go to the next room and the next room, all the way through the house. You may have to come back to the original rooms because you have some more things for delivery, but try to stay in one room at a time. That will help you with your initial clutter check, a clutter stop, and make sure your kids know it's time to stop playing and check for the clutter. And if you have little babies who dump toys on the floor, now's the time to put everything back in the basket as well. That's a toy stop. They can dump it right back out afterwards, but at least it kind of keeps them corralled for a little bit. Okay, that's it today. That's all about Clutter Stop. I hope this was helpful, and I hope that you remember to be beautiful, because you are beautiful.